Welcome, Radiant Leo souls. Whether you're a long-time listener who's been riding the cosmic lion's back since Saturn's last plot twist, or a curious newcomer who stumbled in after a midnight Google spiral asking, "Why do I feel fabulous one minute and fiery the next?" You've just landed exactly where you need to be, on Golden Fortune Leo, the digital hearth where we decode destiny with a wink, a roar, and just enough Buddhist serenity to stop us from setting our lives, or our ex's DMS, on fire. Now, about that video you clicked, Leo, this is going to be your best months, ever. I'm not being dramatic, though you know I could be. This isn't your average feel-good horoscope reading wrapped in vague platitudes and glitter. No, my friend. This is a cosmic summons. It's the universe whispering, "Hey, chosen one yet, you with the mane and the complicated emotions, get up, your next chapter is loading." From the jump, Spirit delivers the frequency of infinite vastness which, let's be honest, sounds like the kind of thing you'd see on a guided meditation app, but here it actually means something. It's your cue to expand your mind, your energy, your boundaries, and especially your self-worth. Because Leo, darling, you weren't born to play small. You weren't designed to dim your shine so someone else can feel less uncomfortable. You're the sun, not a scented candle. And it's about time you started acting like it. So if you've been shrinking into the background, doubting your brilliance, or letting past heartbreaks put a dimmer on your destiny, consider this your loving shove from the universe. You are not being nudged, you are being called. Not just to glow, but to ignite. Not just to lead, but to inspire. Because the next 3 months, they aren't just good. They're transformation with sparkle. Growth with grit. A comeback story that even Mercury retrograde can't mess with. So stay with me, Leo. We're just getting started. Let's take a moment to reflect on something that often gets glossed over in the age of just follow your passion and 10-second affirmations, the sacred power of building something that lasts. I'm talking about the energy of structure, stability, and security, not the Pinterest version, but the soul-deep kind. The kind that doesn't glitter, but it holds. Spirit is gently and in some cases, not so gently nudging Leo souls to stop floating in potential and start laying bricks in purpose. And yes, I know some of you are saying, but I don't have the resources, the skills, the roadmap. Trust me, neither did the chosen ones. They never start with the castle, they start with the dirt, the shovel, and a vision bigger than their bank account. You're not supposed to be ready. You're supposed to be willing. And then, as if to shake the dust off your boots, Spirit introduces movement. Not just the kind you can book on Expedia, though travel might very well be in your future, possibly somewhere drenched in history like Rome or Egypt. But this journey is bigger than geography. It's a call to embark on a kind of sacred pilgrimage, whether you're trekking across oceans or just down into the quiet caverns of your own psyche. This is the spiritual equivalent of updating your operating system, deleting old programs, installing divine insight, and probably crashing a few times along the way. Growth isn't always graceful, but it's almost always worth it. And then it hits judgment. Not the shallow kind that shows up on social media or family group chats. No, this is cosmic judgment. The kind that rearranges your insides. It's not about punishment, it's about truth. This is where the soul stands up, wipes the fog from the mirror, and says, "I remember now." For many of you, especially those who've always felt a little different, a little ahead of your time, this moment will feel like coming home to a version of yourself you forgot you were waiting for. Not because it's brand new, but because it's eternally you. This isn't just a phase. This is alignment. This is the crack in the shell that lets the light pour out. And when it does, it's not just transformation, it's transfiguration. Leo, your soul didn't come here to stay the same. It came here to rise. Stone by stone, truth by truth. Let it. Let's talk about turbulence, not just the kind that rattles your tray table at 30,000 feet while you pretend to calmly sip lukewarm tea, but the kind that shows up in your soul. The doubt. The delay. The deeply inconvenient detours on the way to your dreams. Here's the truth, you're still ascending. You may not feel like it when everything inside you is screaming for clarity, control, or a complimentary upgrade to first-class enlightenment, but growth rarely feels smooth. Spirit doesn't hand out GPS directions with step-by-step confidence boosters. No, Spirit says, have faith. Trust the bumps. They're not punishment, they're propulsion. And let me assure you, even when it feels like everything's shaking, the trajectory is still upward. It's takeoff, not turmoil. And if you're gripping the armrest of your life too tightly, that's okay. Just don't let go of your hope. Now, let's zoom out a bit. Have you recently found yourself drawn to images of Stonehenge? The Colosseum? Maybe a dusty old photo on Pinterest suddenly felt like it was calling your name? That's not your imagination, it's spiritual GPS rerouting you through ancient wisdom. These sacred sites are not just tourist traps or mystical mood boards. They're energetic portals, deeply encoded with frequencies that speak directly to the soul. When Spirit leaves you breadcrumbs like this, it's not because you're lost, it's because you're being guided. These symbols are less about sightseeing and more about soul seeing. And no, you don't have to book a flight to Rome, though if you do, send me a postcard. Sometimes, just recognizing the signs is the ceremony itself. And finally, let's talk about wishes. You've made one, Leo, maybe quietly, under your breath, maybe boldly under a full moon. But that wish wasn't meant to stay floating in the sky. Spirit is now nudging you to become the very thing you've been hoping for. I know, easier said than done. Emotional turbulence still shows up. It always does. But you're different now. You've leveled up. You've traded reaction for reflection. You've learned that emotions are not the enemy, they're just weather. And as the Buddha wisely taught, you are not your thoughts. Let's take that one step further, Leo. You are not your fears, your failures, or your past. You are the wish, walking. And whether you're mid-storm or mid-breakthrough, keep moving. The stars aren't just watching. They're reflecting back what you've always been. Let's get one thing straight, Leo, even the sun needs rest. I know, you're the one everyone turns to when life gets messy, when the sky falls, or when someone needs to borrow a little courage and confidence, and probably forgets to give it back. But here's the truth that seasoned mystics, battle-tested empaths, and Buddhist monks sipping tea under Bodhi trees all agree on: pausing is sacred. Some of you are running on fumes while still trying to light the way for others. And that's noble, but it's also not sustainable. A burnt-out lion doesn't lead the pride, it just curls up in a bush and growls at butterflies. So take the pit stop. Rest is not a luxury, it's a spiritual discipline. And believe me, when a Leo comes back from a break, they don't whisper, they roar. Now, if you're feeling like your whole life is shifting, like you're walking into a new version of yourself without the user manual, you're not alone. Welcome to the ceremonial rebirth. Whether it's an actual retreat, a spontaneous awakening, or that odd moment in the grocery store when you suddenly realize you've outgrown your entire identity, this is not a glitch. It's a soul update. Something deep in your spiritual DNA is evolving. You might not recognize the person you're becoming, and honestly, that's perfect. You weren't meant to stay the same. Enlightenment doesn't arrive with a bow, it comes wrapped in confusion, tears, clarity, and a very sudden urge to declutter everything. And finally, let's talk about what you've survived. Because you have. Life has handed you more than your share of wounds, but here you are, still standing, still shining, still wearing your scars like the armor of a warrior mystic. You've got a smile that remembers the pain and chooses to rise anyway. That red sun everyone's been seeing? It's not just a weird weather phenomenon, it's a reflection of you. Fierce, rare, radiant, and rising. Let's be real for a second, Leo. Life hasn't exactly handed you the instruction manual, it gave you a magnifying glass, a riddle, and said, "Good luck, legend." But despite the plot twists, the setbacks, and the cosmic detours, you're still here. And not just standing, you reawakening. Spirit has made it crystal clear, you're not wandering this path alone. The signs are showing up, not always in flashing neon, but in the soft, strange synchronicities. A dream that lingers a little longer than it should. A hawk circling overhead when you're knee-deep in doubt. A gut feeling that whispers louder than logic. These aren't coincidences. They're coordinates. And they're pointing toward one truth: you're protected, chosen, and more prepared than you realize. You see, this next chapter isn't about surviving anymore, it's about embodying. You're being asked to walk through the fire with the unshakable knowing that you won't burn. Not because the fire isn't real, but because you've become flame-proof. And when people wonder how you keep your head up while everything's shifting, you'll smile quietly because you know something they don't. You're not waiting for the light at the end of the tunnel. You are the light. And let's talk about that for a moment. For years, you've been the one who felt out of place. The black sheep. The empathy in a room full of emotional toddlers. The overthinker. The overfeeler. But now, all those traits that made you feel too much are exactly what the world is hungry for. You've become the calm in the chaos, the lighthouse in the storm. People gravitate to you because your energy says, "It's okay to breathe here." That's not a coincidence. That's leadership. And not the egoic kind, the kind that knows how to hold space, not take it. Now, if hawks have been circling your life literally or symbolically, take note. That's not a random bird sighting. That's hawk spirit, the sacred messenger of vision, precision, and elevated truth. Spirit is circling you with clarity, asking you to zoom out, rise above the noise, and see the bigger picture. And hey, while we're at it, let's make one thing clear: red flags are not carnival decorations. If it feels off, it probably is. Your intuition is sharper than ever. Don't dull it with denial. Then comes that not-so-subtle nudge from the universe, angel number 6969. Now, before your mind wanders, let's just say it's less about the fun number and more about closure. It's time to tie off the loose ends. Close the chapter. Burn the script you've outgrown. Spirit isn't asking you to forget, it's asking you to stop rereading the same page hoping for a different ending. Because on the other side of that final period, a version of you that you've only glimpsed in dreams. Fiercer. Softer. Whole. And here we are, full circle. As these next 3 months unfold, you're not just entering a new cycle, you're being reborn in it. Not in the dramatic, phoenix rising from ashes way, though honestly, that would be very on-brand for you, but in the quiet, steady glow of a soul that finally believes in its own worth. The universe isn't just cheering you on. It's reshaping itself to match the energy of the Leo who finally, unapologetically, steps into their full light. So take the trip. Start the book. Say yes to the thing that scares you and no to what drains you. Laugh too loudly. Love too deeply. And if anyone asks why you're glowing lately, just tell them, I finally remembered who I am. Now, before you head off to conquer your queendom, or kingdom, I'd be honored if you'd like, share, and subscribe to this sacred corner of the internet golden fortune Leo. This isn't just a channel. It's a movement. And Leo, it wouldn't be the same without your light.